Hello everyone. So today I wanted to do two. I think I might do. I've got two cards, so I think I'm going to do two watercolor Christmas cards, like I did yesterday. And I think yesterday I mentioned wanting to use my Shore and Marsh paint set, and this is that one. The one when I was talking about the fact they don't have any color names, but I wanted to use them because I've got a bigger range of colours, because I basically, if I wanted to do I was thinking of doing some sort of winter berries today, and I love these reds, and the this is my current set, and I don't have a really bright red in it. I have a light red, hang on a minute, I have a light red and a cadmium pale hue, but they're not really a vibrant red like I want. I had another option to obviously do the watercolours, the ones, my watercolours, and then obviously maybe use like a you know, like this, like a Sharpie pen to do the berries, so I could just do and then just paint over. So that's another option I could do as well. And I could actually try both, to be honest. One could be watercolour, one could be this. It doesn't really matter, we'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to say, for demonstration wise, these watercolours don't have names, so if you were to follow along and make your own, I'd basically kind of suggest whatever red you use would work, if that, yeah. So yeah, so, and also as you can see, I don't use this kit a lot on my videos, just because look how big it is. This, you can't even, so here's this palette, and obviously there's also this, and I don't even know how I'm going to position it so you can see what colours I'm using. And but yeah, let me, okay, so I kind of done this. I think this might be the best way to do this. And I'm wearing a house coat. I've got my house coat, it's a bit cool tonight. But because it's obviously night time, well, actually no, it's not, it's evening, but my ring light is shining against. Okay, alright. I'm going to grab my pencil, and I'm just going to start off by basically sketching some circles. So I'm just going to put one here. So for these winter berries, obviously I've painted these a couple of times, and they're very popular to do for Christmas cards. And I've also got a sketch in my watercolour journal that I'm going to do in December time, very similar to these. So this probably isn't going to be the first time you're going to see these be painted. Okay, so okay, I've lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, but I can't remember what I was going to say. That's it. Oh. So I just did them freehand. I could have used this circle template, but there are so many other things you can draw around if you want a perfect circle. I wasn't too bothered about perfect circle, but another technique that's really good is obviously inside of this, and just glasses. I also have this pencil sharpener. That'd also be a big, but you get the point. So many different things you can use to make circles. Okay. Now, have I got everything ready? Okay. I've got some lovely greens as well. So when I do this, I'll kind of describe what colours I'm using, but since the fact they don't have watercolour names, it's difficult to, you know, I could make names up for them, but I'm not sure how that would help if you wanted to follow along. Anyway, so I'm going to pick, I really like this red. Can you see? This palette is so big. Let me, okay, this one. Do I want to do the leaves first? Yeah, actually, let's do the leaves first. So I've been trying to, my goal was to do a video every day all the way through November and December to the best of my abilities. I'm doing okay so far, but when I do the videos I'm also trying to do a real time, a bit more, that's the colour I wanted, a bit more natural, and how I would paint if the camera wasn't turned on. So all of the mistakes and the thought processes and times when I forget what I was supposed to be doing, basically. Okay, so let's, I'm just going to go around. Just go around the berries themselves. I do have masking fluid and I could have used it, but I didn't. If you have misking, if you have some masking fluid, go ahead and use it. It'd make this part a lot easier. I have to. So this is the exact same paper I was using yesterday. So it's the same paper that fell apart from Watercolour Journal. It was advertised as 300 GSM. Maybe I should. Kind of regretting not taping it down, but because I'm not doing a border, I didn't think I would need to, but I didn't. I should have thought about the possibility of it moving while I'm trying to do this. But like I said, natural how I normally paint. And all the thought processes and mistakes while I paint come with it as well. Right, so okay. I want to make this darker. Now, normally I would add indigo, but obviously these don't have colour names. It's hard to make indigo like I would normally. So I could. I'm going to try adding a bit of blue and see how we do. I am going to use black because this set doesn't have an indigo looking colour, but it does have black, so we're going to use black. And I like that colour, that's really nice. And we're going to and I've just thought of an idea while I'm doing this. I might do the second painting with my Winsor Newton watercolours that I always use and see how different it looks. So I use the reds that are in that palette that I just said that I said that I thought were a little not red enough. Oh, that's a nice green. I don't think that's darker though. Oh, it's kind of a dark olive. Maybe add more of this. Yeah. Okay. Now, is that darker than the colour I put down though? Let's find out. Because if I was using my Winsor & Newton, I would have used indigo straight from the palette to put in the middle of these two. Okay. Now, my only issue is with this. I was trying to do it a bit more loose, and I think I would have preferred maybe to do less coverage of the paper. I wanted to leave the whites of the paper more. So let's just get some water just by itself and see if I can try and separate it a little bit just with water. Oh, and I did do a little bit of research. I spoke about yesterday in yesterday's video about how I've heard of the salt trick, but I've never managed to make it work for me. And a lot of people were talking just about table salt, which I have been using. So I thought I'd give it another try, another go. But I'll give it another go on Monday. I'll do a video on Monday where I explore still a Christmassy, festive kind of card of some sort, but I will do it with salt and see if I can have a successful trick for once. It's just dab. Yep, so if you do have masking fluid, I recommend, it would have helped. It would have helped, and basically the reason I didn't use it was that I forgot. I had planned to in my head, and I set up my camera, started talking and forgot. So I think we're going to have to obviously let that dry. If I were to add any more, if we're going to add darker leaves to make it look more defined, to give it more defined leaves and foliage, I need for it to dry first into a darker colour. But I'm not sure if I can make that any darker without it, you know, I miss my indigo already. Although I do love that green, that's a lovely green. I don't think I can use it on this. Oh, that's a lovely green. Well, I suppose if I do the two videos, one with Winsor & Newton and one with these, I could just do a third video and cut more paper up and do more than one card like I did the other day. That's always an option. Okay, so I've just been playing around with my colour in my palette to see if I could get it any darker. And I think I have. I think I've succeeded in making it darker, but I think it might be best to do the berries first actually, because then I can, don't know actually, I guess maybe just because darker colour, so I'll have to, if I trying to explain this. If I paint the dark green first leaves and then accidentally go over the berries, the red will be harder to cover than the sorry, the red won't cover the green, but the green will cover the red, I think, is basically what I'm trying to say. Is so if I make a mistake, I can take the green, cover a berry, or do it so it looks like the berry's behind the leaves. There you go. That's that's what I was thinking. So I'm just going to go around the edges, get some water. Oh dear. Yep, I definitely regret my masking fluid. So let me, so if you look there, if you see what I mean, what I was trying to say was, if you look in this corner here, you can tell the red is covered the green. Oops. And I don't want to be judgmental of my card yet because it's not finished, but so far it's not turning out quite how I imagined it would. Need some more colour. I have done this kind of berry painting for cards, you know, for family, and they've turned out better. Sometimes I find, I don't know whether it's just because I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it, but sometimes I'll find I do a painting when I'm not recording and it'll turn out really nice in my own time, and then I think, oh, I'll replicate that for a video, and it just doesn't end up looking as good as it did when I did it in my own time. And it seems to happen a lot to me. I don't know. Edges. Let's see. I'm not sure I can get this any darker. Paint it in the middle. Just sort of put it out a little bit. I'm also coming to realise that I wish I had put the berries closer together as well. Okay, that's what I've got so far, a little bit of a close-up. I am happy that I managed to get that darker colour. I didn't think I was going to be able to. Oh, even that's a bit darker. Ooh. Just do a bit. Just do that a little bit. Right, I'm going to wait for that to dry, add my snow, and then we'll see where we are. And then I'll do another one, and then we'll see how we go with that one. However, I do a third and a fourth, and yeah. Right, so I'll meet you back when this is dry. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start adding the snow. Now, I would go ahead and add highlights to the berries, but because they're going to be covered in snow, any highlight will be covered, and I can always do that afterwards if there's a gap. But as you can see, I don't think there's going to be. Some nice. Okay. Kind of lovely. I kind of like that. I don't know, in my opinion, I think the white snow on these kinds of things always just sort of, I don't know, saves it. So I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle. Oops, wrong one. Hang on. Oh, actually, I have that the wrong way around. Oops. I like to use this as my splatter brush at the moment. It's just one of those cheap brushes that you get from those cheap kits. Just add a bit of gold. Splatters. Put that out of the way. I also have some Christmas stamps as well that I thought at some point I should also put them on a card. Clean some of that ink. So this looks. I think that's kind of cute. I quite like that actually. Nice and loose and fun. I think that would look really cute on a card. Maybe a little bit different than using my my normal watercolours. I do actually like the Shore and Marsh watercolours actually. I do actually really enjoy them. I think sometimes I've gotten so used to using indigo, I find it difficult to find a colour to substitute it. Right, that's the first one. Actually, no, I'm going to put that somewhere safer just behind me because yesterday I made the mistake of losing one of my art pieces. Okay, so this one here does actually have masking fluid on, but while that dries I'm going to be doing another one, so I'll be doing 3. Okay, so first, ironically, I'm taking this away, and you'll notice it doesn't have any circles on. So now I recommend just using a board, like just like a water resistant placemat or something. Add some of that colour in there. Sap green, more indigo. Okay, now then I'm going to wet this. You can do this different ways. You get more of a darker colour if you don't wet it. But I'm going. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to spray it the other way in the wrong direction. Okay, here we go. Just going to wet it slightly. Just dab it. And oh, it didn't work on this paper. That's a shame. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not going crazy. I did this technique last year for myself, and it did. This isn't watercolour paper. I just want to see if it's different, because the paper, I will admit, the paper I used last year to do this wasn't actually watercolour paper, but it was paper that took the water well, but it wasn't. Yeah, there we go. Although I suppose you could also say that because I didn't wet this, I did this. Okay, put that to the side. Clean up a little bit. Okay, yep. See, unfortunately, that's what happens when I do videos where it's just me experimenting like I would normally do without the camera off. You get me painting my table and trying techniques that may or may not work. So I'm just going to play around with this a little bit. Now this isn't watercolour paper. I don't even know what GSM this is. I don't think I got it from, I think it's just from like an actual, just a simple sketchbook. So I just thought while I'm here, because this technique worked a bit better than the watercolour paper. Okay, let that dry. Although I did get a little bit of paint on my other card, but that doesn't matter because I'll be painting that soon. So let this dry. Okay, I'm going to move this to the side. It's not watercolour paper, but it seems to be doing okay. Okay, now let's take my sap green, some indigo, more sap green, bit of Gamboge hue, and let's and just indigo by itself. Just dab that in. So at the moment these are definitely more loose. Although this video was more of me just playing around. Well, no, it turned into me playing around and I just went with it. Originally I was going to do some winter berries with a bit more of a structure, but ended up with this. Put that one to one side. Shout out to my pour table, but I will be, after I've finished this video, obviously I will be cleaning it down. Okay, so this is still wet. Okay, I'm going to move my watercolours out the way. I don't know how it came to this. So I've got, this one is still drying. And now I have this one. I'm going to use my Sharpie creative marker to go ahead and draw my circles. So obviously this video is all over the place and it's not turning out quite how I imagined it, but I went with it. I'm enjoying it actually, and I hope if you're watching, you're enjoying just watching me go around and experiment with things that I hadn't planned. Okay, so I've got some winter berries there. Now this isn't watercolour paper. I know it's definitely not watercolour paper, but we're already here. And let's just see. Mixing my gambos and my indigo. Let's just see how this goes. Okay. Now actually, I might try, because I know this isn't watercolour paper, if I get a lot more pigment and less water, we'll see if it copes a bit better. I'm just going to move this out of the way slightly. Bit more water, see if it can cope with me just colouring in the middle. I say colouring, painting in the middle. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is not watercolour paper. It's less unplanned, and so far, I'm not going to lie, it's turning out to be my favourite. Now, I like wet and wet, loose. I don't know how to describe them. I don't want to call them wild. It's not wild, but like loose and splattery and wet and that kind of painting. I just like looking at and I like doing. Maybe that's why it's my favourite. It's a bit more, you know. Oops. I would worry about that, but I can go over them with pen again, or obviously when I add snow and the highlights and stuff. Some of the berries will be covered anyway, but I'm a bit scared to try this because it's not, oh, okay. No, I think it's coping. It's doing okay. There is a bit of when I do this, there is a bit of a pull of the paper up. Turn this around. It's not doing badly actually. Right. Add some of that gold. My poor table. Get a nice bit of pigment on there. Okay. Right, now I'm gonna give it a bit of an attempt. I didn't think it would, because it's not. Do I have a white pen that's a bit okay? So I've got permanent marker and another Sharpie. Okay, let's no. Slightly, but it is starting to pull the paper. But in all honesty, I think this paper is holding its own very well, despite the fact that I've mentioned it a couple of times. It's not watercolour paper. Look, it's literally just paper. So I can't complain at that. some ink. Some snow. I will describe myself as quite a messy artist. Well, at least I am today. Okay, so that's that one. That's, I don't know, I like how that one looks. We'll see how it looks when it is dry, and in the meantime I'm going to gently move it, put it somewhere safe. Oh, this one isn't dry. Okay, so I'm going to use a hairdryer to force it dry. Okay, my final one. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing we did on the not watercolour paper. I'm just going to so because this is water based, and although I did use the hairdryer to make the painting dry, I think it still might be a little bit damp. So I think that's enough dots. Okay. Dear, where's my watercolours going? I will say, when I do my watercolour painting for the in my watercolour journal that I mentioned at the start that I have got planned for December, it will be more organised than this. This is just a fun experiment that I ended up going with. The video didn't start out like this. I didn't plan the video to go like this, but here we are. Okay, so I think this one might be my least favourite, actually. I don't think it's awful or anything. I don't know, this one's just turned out nicer in my eyes. I don't know. I'd be happier putting those ones on a card more than this one. Oh, sorry, can't actually see. Oops. Oh, a bit too much. That's fine. I have just realised that there are two things I said in the video. I said that I was going to use my Winsor & Newton watercolours and just use the cadmium orange colour to compare to the Shore and Marsh paints, but it went in a completely different direction, and that is fine. I had a great time. I enjoyed this. So, okay. Oh no, I don't know if my table enjoyed it. Oh, look at the poor table, because that's that one. There is this one. Ooh. And this one. All together, and you can kind of put it whichever way you want. Okay, so actually, right, let me do something else. I'm going to clear off my table and I will come back. Okay, I'm back with a cleaner table. So, that one. That one and that one. So I did this one first. If you can see it, sorry. So I did that one first, this one first, this one second, and then this one third. And I'd be super interested to know which one you like more, because I don't know, they all have different charms to them. So this one I think is quite less saturated in colours maybe, but I like the berries. This one is very, I don't know, I like this one. It's very hectic and splattery and I like that. This one is a bit more richer in colours, I would say, maybe for the watercolour, but the berries, because I didn't let it dry, that's my fault. The marker, the acrylic marker, didn't go down as much. But I don't know, I like them all. They'll have their own little charm. And I'd be super interested to know which one is your favourite. Bit of a shine. It's still slightly wet. And I would like to say a shout out to whatever paper this is, because it actually held its own pretty well. I know I didn't put tons and tons of watercolour on it, but I think it did quite nicely. Okay, so thank you all so much for watching. I really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this. It wasn't what I planned, but I just went with the experiment. Thank you all so much for watching. So leave me a comment how which one's your favourite. Bye.